first of all, where are all you guys from?
I was born in Austin. I grew up in Leander, Texas.
I grew up in Cypress, outside of Houston.
And I was born in New York, lived in Philly, Florida, West Virginia, and then came out here to go to UT, and now I'm a full 100% Texan.
I was about to say, New York, what brought you, but University of Texas, right?
Right.
What part of college? What were you majoring in?
I was playing, went to UT.
To do what?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And then was actually playing bluegrass in their Burnt Orange Bluegrass group.
Have you been up here before?
Once. It looks very familiar.
That's right. Because we've had the Burnt Orange Bluegrass group in studio before.
Right. Well, shout out to them. They're awesome. Yeah. It's a great place to play.
So are you using your mechanical engineering degree? Or are you full-time?
I am not. I'm doing actually tech consulting.
Right.
But I actually am retiring early, going back to school at UT for my master's.
Cool. Oh, wow. Boy, I feel dumb. DJ here. That's
Welcome
awesome.
to the party, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Got my bachelor's and was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Same.
Talk about the Ransom Brothers putting the band together. Where'd you guys start? I always like to ask a band, what were you doing to get started? Did you have some funky name or going under a cover band, or was it always the Ransom Brothers and y'all were going to do originals from day one?
So I had left a band that I was playing lead guitar for, and I went and started a recruiting job doing software recruiting. And I had a friend in the office who said, hey, I have a friend who plays guitar. And he was like, come jam after work. So I came over and I met Sal. And we had actually originally met at a South by Southwest showcase where Reed Southall was playing at Blind Pig. And we were just talking gear and, hanging out. And then
also, I had no idea what he was talking about at the time. I was just kind of picking my guitar back up, and I was like, what is this guy talking about?
So I told him I had a couple gigs that I'd booked in College Station to play for a few frat parties. And so we go down there. We got stiffed on both of them. Both fraternities had no money to pay us, and we were like, whatever. We just threw a ragtag band together and played. And then on the way home, I was just like, do you want to start a band? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we just pounded the pavement.
Why not?
played open mics in like Round Rock in Georgetown and downtown Austin. And we were under the name Good Springs because we saw it on a sign at a frat party in College Station.
Was it the one that didn't pay you?
Yeah, we went down there.
Yes, exactly.
We hop in the car, and I've known him for all of a couple weeks. And I was like, by the way, do we have a band name? And he was like, the Farriers? And I was like, the heck is a farrier?
I don't know what
explains
made
that to me, but
to do that, I was like,
we basically played 2 gigs, and we're just like, we don't have a band name. And then after the first one, came up with that, ran with that for a while, and then getting into putting our first singles together, our producer was like, you guys sold on Good Springs? And we were like, no. He's like, yeah, it's pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
He's like, go home and think about something. He's like, maybe something with the brothers, because at the time it was just, him and I.
So I had gone home, and I was watching, this is during COVID, this is the height of COVID, actually, and I was watching The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and Jimmy Stewart's character in that movie was Ransom Stoddard. And so I'd heard the name Ransom. I called Sal, and I was like, Chris sent us away with the brothers. I was like, what about the Ransom Brothers? And he was like, I love it. And so we got on a Zoom call with him the next day. He was like, done. He's like, perfect. And so...
Does anybody ever question you? I was halfway kidding early about, hey, which one of y'all are the brothers?
All the time.
We're all the brothers.
Right.
No,
brothers in music,
what we actually
man.
started doing was telling folks, they'd come to the shows, and they'd be like, so which one's the brothers? And we'd be like, oh, it's the drummer and the fiddle player, or it's the keys player and the singer.
You mean you can't see how they look exactly?
And we would just pick the 2 guys that looked the least alike, and then the audience would walk away like, what?
Love it. I played in a band for a while, and same thing. Didn't have a band name. We had our first gig, no band name. We were in it tells you how it was like in the 80s. We were putting on our guy liner in the bathroom, and we look over on the wall, and there's a condom machine, and it said Savage Bliss Condoms. We called the band name Savage Bliss.
Okay.
Same thing.
That's awesome.
It also stuck. Hanging out with the Ransom Brothers with guitars and a fiddle in hand. We got to play us one?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
We're going to do Fighting for Air off of our debut album, Resurgence.
Here we go. The Ransom Brothers live at KokeTV.com.
1, 2, 3, 4. into a room just to burn it down? Do you scream just so you can make a sound? And do they see you while you're hiding in plain sight? Is your only human touch throwing punches in a fist fight? Can you hear me? Are you still there? Are you pulling into port, or are you floating out there somewhere? Can you hear me? Are you still there? Are you breathing free and easy, or are you fighting for air? Now are you tired of all your fair weather friends taking off every time the party ends? And do those pretty ones still love you? Won't you put your clothes back on? Is the night they all keep talking about ever gonna have a dawn? Well, can you hear me? Are you still there? Are you pulling into port, or are you floating out there somewhere? Can you hear me? Are you still there? Are you breathing free and easy, or are you fighting for air? Do you ever think to call me when you're scared? Do you wonder why it's been so long since we played truth or dare? And did we go our separate ways because we never had a choice? Do you miss my face half as much as I still miss your voice? Can you hear me? Are you still there? Are you pulling into port, or are you floating out there somewhere? Can you hear me? Are you still there? Are you breathing free and easy, or are you fighting for air? Well, are you breathing free and easy, or are you fighting for air?
Listen there.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
job.
Appreciate it.
Ransom Brothers live in our KOKE FM studios, live on KokeTV.com. It's a good song.
Thank you.